All right. I think we're good. I think we're live. Everything looks good. Stream is good. Stream is up. Hello, Jeffrey and Sterling. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys being here. Tonight should be a good time. Tonight should be a good time. I actually have, I got three other guys with me tonight to discuss, Bond. Bond was released. So normally this is the TPN after our show. Normally we do these on Wednesday nights, every other Wednesday from 10 to midnight. But we're like, that would be dumb. It would have been dumb to have done it last night when we know the game was coming out today. So I did a little flop. Good time, not guaranteed. David, okay. All right. So okay. So tonight should be fun for most. But yes, just to review, this is the Pinball Network. We try our best to provide you with streaming content throughout the week, and this is our calendar. So Sundays is Jordan and Becca. They have not streamed in a few weeks because their streaming laptop died. So they're coming back. They are coming back. Monday nights, Hadi, Frisco Pinball, fantastic man, attractive man, as you guys will see very soon. Tuesday night would be Pinballers. That's Mike, Lisa, and Carter. They were going to be on tonight, but they're playing in a tournament, so I hope they're doing very well. Wednesday nights, that's typically me. I typically am streaming on Flipping Out Pinball, but not. I did last night, but not. Yeah. All right. So Thursdays. So we are squeezing in here. Normally we have Chuck Wirt, and then I stream until midnight. And then George, Don't Panic Flip, will actually be streaming right after us. So you're essentially going to raid ourselves, which will be kind of cool. And then Saturday will be Jedi McMuffin with Tommy, or Tommy and his neighbor. I think his neighbor is Steve. Jeffrey, wait, you have a Deadpool? Of course I have a Deadpool. I think that's sarcastic. Yeah, I see the laughing faces. All right. So TPN, I'm really grateful to be a part of this. And one way that we're able to do this is because of the sponsors. We actually have 8 amazing companies that are supporting us and what we do. So that would be Comet Pinball. Ryan and his crew basically will make anything and everything LED related. If you have a bulb that goes bad or you want to add any additional lights to your game, please, Comet Pinball, you will not be disappointed. Measle Mods, they make some amazing mods, 3D printed and otherwise, to add into your modern games. I know for a fact they will absolutely be making plenty of mods for Bond, so check them out. Scorebit, Jay has made an amazing product for you to add a board into literally almost any pinball machine and get them on the internet. All JJP games come with it by default. I actually have one in my TNA, so I can compare scores with my other friends that have TNAs. It's a fantastic product. Stern Pinball, big day for Stern Pinball. They just released 007 or Bond. I actually don't know the name of the game, and we're going to talk about that because I think it's 007. But anyways, big day for Stern. They make great machines. Doug at Speaker Light Kit makes some really cool speakers. You can see them right behind me. Oh, that is not the button. That's the button. So you can see them right here. I have them in Turtles and in Deadpool. They are fantastic. If you get a set, you're going to want to get a set for every one of your games. So hit up Doug at Speaker Light Kits. Pinball Photos, take some amazing pictures for you to hang on your wall. They also have a shower curtain of a pinball machine. So check them out. Really cool merch to help decorate your little arcade at home. Zach and Nicole Flipping Out, great people. I'm super appreciative to be able to stream for them. They're in Evansville, Indiana, but can ship a game literally in the U.S., anywhere in the U.S. If you're looking for a new game, old game, accessory, anything, Zach and Nicole will treat you right. They are a fantastic distributor. And last but not least, Pinmonk. Victor at Pinmonk makes some really cool mods. He has a silent fan mod for all the power supplies of most modern games. He also has flipper cooling fans for people that stream or play games for a long period of time so that you can have consistent flippers. He's currently working on a new version of that. I actually have them. He sent me a set to test out. They are awesome. Really, really cool. And he makes some really cool gel inserts to change kind of the game inserts. So there you go. There's all your plugs. What am I seeing here? Game Time Television. Rod Dog, how you doing, buddy? Play the Pinball Monk. We'll get there. We'll get that ad right in the middle. But it's good seeing you, buddy. All right, so here we go. Here are our guests tonight. There they are, everybody. All right, so.
Guy right here.
I know. We'll get to you. So there's. My hands were tied, okay? I was talking to other people, other podcasters and whatnot, and it's like, okay, we need somebody that actually knows James Bond well. And, unfortunately, Dave is the only option there. So,
That's great.
we'll get to you, but let's go around real quick.
A corner.
We were back to, yes, way into a corner, but you know what? He's here. He's ready to play. It should be fine. So let's go around. We'll start with you, Hadi. Who are you? What do you do? And what was the last game of pinball that you played?
Hey there, I'm Hadi, otherwise known as Frisco Pinball. I stream Mondays and most late nights, just random virtual or physical stuff. Physical. Uh, last pinball machine I played was last night. We played some Black Knight Sword of Rage, and we got our butt kicked.
Oh yeah. Kirk Hobbs, how you doing? Happy Friday for you. Yeah. Kirk Hobbs is all the way over Australia, right? Australia or New Zealand. I love it. He watches on his lunch break. It's great. Well, Hadi, appreciate you being here, man. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, my pleasure.
We're gonna skip David. We're definitely saving him for last. Craig, go ahead. Go ahead and go. Yep.
Hey everyone, Craig Bobby from the Pinball Show. I do the Top Stories news segment on the Pinball Show with Zach Meny and Dennis Kriesel, and that show drops on Mondays on the Pinball Network's podcatcher, so you can catch us every Monday.
Okay, Craig, I gotta ask you. Can you do your James Bond tune real quick? Can you just pull that out of your?
Oh,
it's so good, man. It's so great. Thank you for
You
spitting
should
all
hear him
over
do
your
the
mic.
Seinfeld slap bass.
That is so
Oh,
good.
very good.
Yeah, DMCA strike for sure. That was on point, Craig. Thank you. And last and definitely least, David Dennis, thank you for being here tonight.
The man, the myth,
Yeah.
the legend.
Yes. So who
David
are you?
Dennis.
What do you do? And what was the last game
I
of pinball you
am
played?
the heart and soul of the Pinball Network.
Oh Lord.
I'm David Dennis, the greatest of the podcasters on the Pinball Network. I'm the host of Silverball Chronicles, a pinball history podcast where we chronicle all the politics and shenanigans and great stories of pinball history.
Mhm.
You can check us out at silverballchronicles.com or any podcatcher or in the regular TPN feed.
Yeah. And shout out to your co-host Ron for carrying every bit of what you just said. So
Yes,
he
yes,
is-
he is the steak where I am the sizzle.
yeah. You do your
For
research.
sure.
You put together
Yeah.
you do your job. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
speaking of
Last
job,
pin-
if you want to do a small plug for your financial advice, you get one. So you either do it now or you do it at the end.
no, I don't need any of these pinball deadbeats.
Middle deadbeats. I don't know if you
Yeah.
saw chat there.
You're
They
spending
said,
all your money on toppers and mods and stuff.
yeah.
You got no money to talk to me, but you can check out all of my shenanigans if you want to by throwing me in the Google machine. The last pin I played was Tron.
Nice.
Yes, I only have one pin. I'm a one pin house, and I play that weekly. You know, a lot less, of course, now that I've had it for like 4 years. But I do play it at least probably once a week. So I still play it. But it is
Time to get it out.
it is an acquired taste. It is
Yeah.
a different kind of game, different kind of code. It's not very deep, but at the same time, it's so much fun.
Yeah,
It's
Tron's a
great
good game. Tron's a good game. There's nobody
Sort
arguing.
of
that.
gets you hooked in it a little bit like TNA, right? Like it's not
Oh,
for
yeah.
everybody, but when you play it, you're like,
Oh,
there's
yeah,
something
feels
about
good.
it.
Hey,
Yeah.
chat. Thanks for everybody being here tonight. Squalito, everybody rolling in. Try to tilt pinball. That's awesome. Yeah, thanks for all being here. And yeah, my name is Joel. I do the Flippin' Out stream on Wednesday nights, and then I stream every other Thursday for Flippin' Out. And I also do the Triple Drain Pinball podcast. Hey, Ed, let's not. Silverball Chronicles is awesome. No, that's one. One is good. One's good, guys. That's enough.
Too much,
his
Ed.
count.
You can also swing on over to Silverball Swag to pick up a Silverball Chronicles T-shirt if you'd like.
Yeah. It's good for like.
Try blend.
It's like good for like wiping oil off your hands after you've it's been a day in the
I
garage.
don't
Hard day
care
in the
what
garage.
you do
Don't
with
care
that
what you do with it.
T-shirt as long as you buy
He
one.
just wants the. I see. Yeah.
I
Okay.
need my $3.
yes.
Unless you're a double XL, then just go to hell and don't order one. 'Cause then I actually have to pay them back
Oh man.
because they charge me negative $2.
Okay. Well, you are right. Yes, we have merch on Silverball Chronicle or on Silverball Swag, and when you get that, like, hey, yeah, this shipping. We had somebody order a shirt or order something that was in some random European country, and they told us about it, and they're like, you're actually not going to make any money on this because of the extra shipping and all this tax. We're like, whatever, good on that guy for ordering it, but. Okay, Kirk Hobbs, Brooklyn Pin and I are waiting for our JP machine, which arrives in the next 10 days. Nice. Yeah, very cool. Okay,
Good stuff.
well, let's dive in here. So, this is what happened today. I don't know what to call this game, and this is why. Because this is the
new
game
release.
title. New release. New release is the game title. If you go to
Mhm.
games, if we go to games here, you'll see it says 007, but yet where normally if I click Rush here and we go up to the top, it says Rush, or it says, depending on what game you click, it says it big and bold. They're right at the top. So this should say Godzilla. Well, if I click that game, what does it say? It says new release. So I don't know. I don't know the official game. And if you look at the games themselves, they don't say James Bond anywhere. So I don't know. I'm going to call it James Bond, but I think 007. I mean, that's what actually, if you look on the side of each back box, that's what it says, 007.
Yeah,
So
that's my gut feeling is that is actually what it's called, is 007. I
007.
betcha the only reason that they don't have any text on there is because they can't, the licensor won't let them type in 007. They have to put the image.
Oh, you think actually like a copyright thing? So because
I
you have to
bet
have
you
the
it's
gums,
gotta
that's
be
something
like
weird.
for something like that to be on the Stern website, it's got to be something convoluted like that.
Okay, so Blake, appreciate that. Under achievements, it says James Bond 007. Okay, well that's good. We'll go with that. All right, so let's just dive in. We're gonna talk, first impressions, everything. So obviously, the first thing that we're seeing here is the art. So I know I am not I like the modern James Bond movies, but this was before my time. This was not something that I watched. I have no nostalgia for any of these Sean Connery James Bond. That's me, Hadi. Or where are you at in this? Similar?
It's very similar. I've seen a couple, seen a few, seen the modern ones, but it's not a theme that I'm gonna rush to go out and buy just because of the theme.
Yeah. And Craig, do you have any affinity to these older movies?
Yeah, I've seen most of them. I do remember watching them as a kid growing up, here and there. I don't have any strong affinity to them. I kind of grew up more in the not in the Sean Connery era, but in the whose name is Roger Moore era.
Roger Moore, yeah.
Through most of his movies, and that's where I think Bond got toward the campy side of things a little bit, and they went a little
Comedy
campy with
Bond.
in that direction. So it never really resonated with me, although I've seen them all, and they were always sort of big events every time a James Bond came out. But it wasn't like a Star Wars or
Yeah.
any of those themes that we sort of gravitated to as kids a little more.
So here's a serious question, because I know David, you have James Bond posters in your house, correct?
I do.
So this art is you've looked at this art for many years.
Yeah,
but,
I'm super familiar with it. Yeah, absolutely.
So the question now though is, this is a serious question. When this movie came out, was it supposed to be campy, or it was genuinely like an action movie?
So these genre let's say Dr. No, From Russia with Love, Goldfinger, they were all, let's call them like the blockbusters of their day.
Okay.
Right? Where they were action oriented. They had, a couple of good quippy lines in there that made the crowd laugh or whatever. And it always had lots of really cool, innovation in some way or another. Right. The underwater scenes in Thunderball, for example, were that was wow, that was something else in 1967 or whenever that was.
So this is genuine. It was genuine action. This is the peak of an action movie when it came out.
Yeah, exactly. And then when you get into Diamonds Are Forever, and then that one was much more sort of comedy oriented. They had a little more humor, and then they dialed it back a little bit on the humor when they introduced Roger Moore, and then they went right in on humor, and then sometimes they realized they overdid it, and then they dialed it back again.
Yeah. Pin Monk, I got it. It's right here. I got it all ready to go. But we'll get to that. So, so my initial impressions of this art, because I'm not familiar with, I didn't watch the old movies. I mean, it looks dated. It looks like old movie art. And it wasn't until people started pulling up things that they quickly point out, every bit of this art is straight pulled from a movie poster, like straight pulled from a movie poster. And to confirm that, today I highly recommend, if you're not a Stern Insider connected person, join that. There was a great interview by Nate Shivers with George Gomez and Mike Vinacore about the game, and George said very clearly, he said we were very restricted on what we could do with art, and so we were basically we were directed to use art that was already approved or licensed. So it seems like the majority, probably like 95% of all of these art packages were straight pulled from like movie posters or some sort of Bond memorabilia that was already illustrated. But I see Chad asked, who was the artist? Kevin O'Connor. Yeah, George Gomez went further into that and said, they arranged based off of pulling stuff from movie posters, but to get it to all blend together and stuff, and with different resolutions, and some of the
He
art
also
was
said
black
that
and
some
white.
of the stuff was like old scans, so
Yeah.
they had to retrace over the top.
He said he
of it
repainted like everything. So
Yeah.
cut and paste, kind of. It seems more like cut and paste to get initial layout and then completely repaint everything. So now that I know that, I do respect this layout or this art package more. But maybe for somebody that knows this art well, David, I mean, did you see these and immediately you're like, yes, like were you wanting new, like fresh Bond, or you're totally fine with this?
everybody wants something freshly illustrated, right? But when you see a lot of the vintage James Bond stuff, a lot of the the collectible stuff, if it's not a new movie, it is this.
Okay.
Right? I think the last time they did any sort of original sort of mixtures of stuff was when they did like a DVD box set years ago.
Okay.
Like 20 years ago. Like it tends to be pretty straightforward. I assume they got their DVD of here's the assets, right? Have at her.
Mm-hmm.
And that being a bit of a hamstring, if we look at my favorite pork string, by the way, if we look at these specific, wow, not a single laugh.
I laughed.
I
laughed.
Did you?
I
was
did.
like, Matt,
I snorted.
I laughed. Your pork
that
string
was
got
bad.
it.
That was a bad joke. If I only got Joel. Good Lord.
Yeah.
But when I look at them, like if you separate cabinet and playfield, like translate cabinet, playfield, if you separate all three of those out, two of those three are a hit big time. I think they're great.
So I mean, okay. So the Dr. No,
but that's because I know the source material and I'm in on the theme, right?
Yeah.
Well, where I struggle with is, and somebody just followed, and I appreciate that. I can't see the name though, so thank you for whoever just followed. Appreciate that.
Something.
Oh, there it is, Jeff the Guru. Appreciate that. Thank you.
It is.
So where I struggle though is the translates. The translates are supposed to, like Turtles, Deadpool, like draw you in. Dr. No, like it doesn't say Bond, it says Dr. No. Same thing with You Only Live Twice. From a distance, that's something from an arcade. Stop the Presses, Joel struggles. Yeah, Victor, you've been here before, so no, I don't know. That's my only complaint. Like I think they look cool, and for an avid Bond fan, I'm assuming, David, you're planning on buying all the two translates you can, probably getting a lit flip frame and sticking them on your wall. But
put them on my mantle.
There you go. I just don't know. Like that's an interesting choice though for like let's draw you in to play this game. What I will say is that I've seen another translate that actually looks pretty good at drawing you in, and shout out to this one, which we'll get to. But this was our initial response, right? So I don't know. I mean, does anybody have a strong opinion on when it comes to the cabinet art or anything particular they want to say about it?
That or Greg?
I think they look. My overall impression is they're very well done. I think in person they're going to be much, much better. As they always are, by the way, and I think early on people were a little afraid just because some of those images were fairly low res and it looked like it might be a little bit of a Photoshop hack job.
Mm-hmm.
But that's because those early cell phone images, weren't good. And you can see now from these high res images that they did do, I think, about as good a job as they can, a la what George Gomez was saying during that interview, of cleaning those images up and making them pretty darn good. My only problem, I think, with the art packages is I think they were really on a roll, and then when they hit the LE, it's like they kind of ran out of ideas. I don't like the color palette that they used, for the LE and the premium, because in my head I think of them as the same. I was like, what? How can the LE
Oh,
be
because they're
the
both
same
kind of
kind of? It looks
bluish.
very underwaterish, both of them. I wish, the premium's supposed to be him flying in an airplane, but it looks like he's underwater. you know, I
Yeah,
thought it was his
okay.
sub, but it's an
So
airplane.
you're saying the fact that yes, if you ignore the T molding and ignore the powder coated rails, those
Yeah.
are both essentially baby blue. So I see what you're
Same
saying.
same
Yeah.
same color palette, and I see like their overall design with him on the side, the
The
side of
side
the
of
head
yeah.
there, or the back panel there. I like that. But I don't like the fact that their premium and LE, color palette is basically the same. I think the LE overall is the best, but I do like that premium as well, and I would have no problem. I do like how on one side of the LE as well, they've got the movie
Right
posters,
there, yeah.
and on the other side is the thing. I think that's very cool.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give it an A on all these art packages. I'm not big on the yellow, but
Yeah.
The only thing that gets me with the art packages on the cabinets is this side we're looking at right now.
The movie poster side?
Yeah, so there's this negative space around the posters.
Yeah.
Right? That kills me. But I mean, I'm nitpicking here, right? Like,
yeah.
So
God, Christopher Franchi didn't do the art.
So you're gonna put that's the side you're gonna put up against the wall? Is
Yeah.
this
Oh, I
side?
can't get this because of the negative space. I'm sorry.
Oh, they're
I'm
all
not
like that
buying the
too.
negative
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
space.
all like that. Okay, I
Yeah,
get
they
it.
have that weird negative space. The one that does it maybe the least quote unquote offensive, it would be the pro right
The
there.
Pro?
Because it goes well with the yellow. To be honest, my wife and I were having this discussion, and for some reason, I just think that pro package is super iconic.
I'm
Mhm.
okay.
Right? It's a lot less interesting than the other ones because the other one's got more going on. They've got a lot more like cool little details in it, where the other one is just like this vintage movie poster, which is quite literally the movie poster that they had with James Bond. And then you kind of go to the other side and it's got that weird negative space, and you're like, that's kind of weird. But I don't know. I wouldn't go with an A, but I would go with a thumbs up.
Well, it's interesting because it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had bands like the Rush pin. I like the Rush artwork, but there are people that are like, they redrew the characters. It's like that doesn't look like Getty, and some people are upset. Like this is clearly James Bond because it's just straight up pulled from the art. So it's very clear what it is. It just really comes down to whether or not you like that essentially retro original movie poster like stuff. So for a collector like you, David, who already has it hanging on their wall, I could see why this appeals. I seeing in the original leaked images, seeing the yellow cabinet in the background, I was like, that's going to be horrendous. But now that I actually see the complete art package, like that's going to be pretty cool. It'll stand out in a lineup. My only thing is just, this big Dr. No that takes up half the screen. I know Victor Pinmonk early on, like he already started photoshopping together an alternative translate, and I guarantee there will be people that will make those and make money doing it. So back in the 60s, all posters had a border and they are water washed onto walls, etc. Oh, so Kirk Hobbs is saying this is like year opinion or year appropriate. So overall,
I mean, I could do without the yellow around the sides, but again, it's nitpicking. That's all we do in this hobby. It's just nitpick things to death.
No one can be happy. But
Sean Connery's eyebrows are thicker than that. This is outrageous.
I do like the armor choice. The teal armor I think is pretty cool.
There, Craig.
I think the teal armor is pretty cool, and I like the orange T molding with the I like this. I like this layout. I think it fits the theme very well. Because to be honest, if you would have first told me James Bond, in my mind, I assumed it would be like chrome with a very heavy black and white with maybe a little bit of red cabinet. Like that's what I picture when I think of James Bond. Kind of basically what Hadi has behind him in his background. So props to
Hadi, which package is your favorite here?
So my thoughts on the art. It reminds me of the MySpace backgrounds that I used to have back in the day on my pages.
Tell me what you really think.
And I understand their I understand how held back they are, just knowing how terrible working with only approved IPs can be.
Hmm.
So I applaud them for trying to make it look as original to the themes as possible. Make it. It reminds me of Batman '66. If the original Bond, if these Bond movies were campy, then I think they've done a great job
Yeah.
of adhering to those themes. So I'm not sure how I feel about the different color trim on the back boxes as compared to the
The
side
red here.
rails. I love the LE art style or the color palette, but I think they were going for some sort of pop. But I also know people like the trim to be continuous with the rest of the pin. Godzilla's got the silver, AIQ's got the yellow going all the way down, Black Knight's got the black. So I think they look decent. I really do. I'm most impressed with the LE. The secret version is really nice as well, but I think the Pro is just I I think I get what they were going for. I would not pick the Pro to be my favorite. That Translite, I feel like they could have done a better job on the Pro Translite, but
Yeah.
the LE
I agree.
and the Premium,
Yeah.
I get what Craig was saying. They are a little similar, and unfortunately, because the sky is blue and the ocean is blue for the most part, depending where you are, you're gonna get a similar color palette. um, so I think I'd go with the LE. I love the color of the armor. I really am digging the
That teal, yeah.
contrasting sides of posters
Mhm.
and then sort of action scene. I like the translate there, but man, I don't know what the decision was to make the trim on the back box different, but
Huh.
maybe people wanted that color pop. It matches the speaker grill too, so
I like it. I like the color pop, but I mean, I do
Yeah.
think when we saw it here in chat, art, cabinet art, to be honest, like I rarely, kind of barely see the cabinet art on my games. Once we actually have the games right up
Mhm.
next to each other, that's not a make or break for me. The translite does stand out to me though. The fact that the translites are movie specific. So I'm not saying, and yes, Pinmonk isn't making those translate. He just kind of showed. I guarantee there will be somebody that actually makes some kind of universal Sean Connery, James Bond translate that people will start buying. Kind of like how
Jeff the Guru, right? The color scheme is supposed to be 60s mid-century look, and you're
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
right. It's very, very
Like
brown.
seafoam green.
Well,
you know.
now that we all know, if
Tones.
you're going to be limited by movie posters that are already approved and you have to put together an art package, in that case, they have done an exceptional job. Like they've done a very good job with the restraints that they have. So,
Yeah, like as a collector, like I think these are all great.
what do you
These are
think
all
of the
good.
side rails? They look like they're monochromatic black and white and
so the
it's
art
an
blades on the
interesting choice.
inside.
Art blades.
The art blades on the inside are surprising. They're like sketches or like sketchbooks.
Yeah.
Sketchbooks. I don't know. I'm not in love with that, but I also don't, because of the way that the playfield's arranged, they kind of have each movie in its own separate section. I don't know.
Yeah.
You can't really do like a skyline like you have in Turtles or Godzilla.
Is that
or
consistent
something,
with Bond, where they're like black and white scenes, where they're
storyboards?
Yeah.
T-Mix says storyboards.
Yeah. Okay.
Zoom in on those, Joel. Can you zoom in on that?
That's
image
as
or not
far
so
as
much?
that's going to happen, but I can. We'll actually.
I think they
yeah.
have them on the Stern site a little.
Yeah, we'll
little
go here
deeper
and
down.
find a good one here.
But the I think the issue there is let's tie it back to Led Zeppelin, something else where they were really handcuffed, right? It was like, oh, look, the blimp again.
Yeah, or it's the
Right?
same
Like-
thing over
like-
and over and over
Right.
again. Yeah.
So the art blades, what are we going to do that's going to be interesting
kinda
with
see
that?
it
I think
there.
it's cool. But again, I don't like. We'll talk about price later, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, that's these storyboards. So I don't know. I mean,
cool.
any last thoughts on art? I mean, we can probably move on, but I get it now. And then the key with that is I understand it now because of the Insider Connected interview today with George Gomez, where he said very clearly, like, that is what they
You
had to
could
do.
tell that
Yeah.
he knew that we were going to be griping about that as a hobbyist community. So he is tuned in. He knows what's up.
He's smart in that sense. Yeah.
George Gomez is not a dumb
It's
guy.
like he kind of knows what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want an exclusive on the stream here?
Yeah, let's do it. Why not?
An exclusive only to be heard here. You can spread it out through everybody else.
Yeah.
George Gomez will be the topic on the next Silver Ball Chronicles.
Oh, Lord.
a
Okay.
pinball
Whoa.
history
Guys, at the
podcast.
beginning, I said he got one plug, and now he's finding ways to slide in more plugs. So
That's right. That's an exclusive. That's not a plug.
Yeah, Seraph knows.
Silverballchronicles.com.
God, okay.
Silverball
I
Chronicles in your
can't mute.
podcast
It's either I mute all of you or not. Yeah. That was okay.
Mike is covered in snake oil now.
All right. So to
Yeah,
continue
exactly.
continue the art conversation, now we're staring at the playfield. So once again, the limitations here are they have to pull art directly from print. It seems like printed media. Like I don't think that any of this art is pulled from like screen captures of the show. I mean, maybe, but Kevin O'Connor, or not, is it Kevin O'Connor? Whoever, like, you know,
Who
like
would have collated it all?
there's like bubbles up here, you know, or diamonds. Those are diamonds. So it's like there are things that he drew. I know George said like these gadgets, or the gadgets down here, like those are things that he
those are all
drew.
drawn.
Same with these. I think these represent the weapons in the middle. Those he drew, but everything else is pulled straight from, you know, the spinner is an opto spinner. Yes, the spinner is an opto spinner, Dalton. So I'm okay. Like the initial, we all know when these leaks came out a week or two ago, whatever, like my initial reaction in my mind, and I think everybody else, is people were thinking Franchi art or something similar. But now that I understand what they've done, I don't know. It seems very appropriate to the time period. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it.
It's very 60s. The leaked photos, I was like,
I know. Yeah,
once I saw these, I feel much more comfortable.
I do.
It sounds shilly to just be like, oh yeah, it's great, it's perfect, it's fantastic, it's appropriate for the time period.
Yeah.
You should go to Flipping Out Pinball and buy one. Zach and Nicole Mini. Call them on evenings and weekends. It's great.
He's just shilling everything tonight.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's like it. I actually like it. I actually think it's pretty cool.
Yep.
A lot better than I'd expected, because when now you can get into those details around the flippers.
Yeah.
You know, Bond himself standing there. You know, one of the gripes, I guess, that I could have would be where the Bond women are, and some of the henchmen.
Yeah.
Seems a little like, but you know, it doesn't look as photoshoppy as it did on those leaks. I'll tell you that.
Well, yeah, somebody said this playfield looks like a high school yearbook, and I thought that was pretty funny. But I get it now. I mean,
Yeah,
you're trying to pull in the villain, the henchman, and the Bond woman from each of 6 movies. I mean, that's 18 faces that you got to squeeze on there. So there's a lot. There's a lot that we're putting on here.
Like, look at that. That's cool.
That is cool. So this
Right,
is
the
a custom
details in there.
That's a custom mold, and this is Dalton said this earlier. Look at that. That is an opto. That's not
Even the way that the ball pops out of that Austin
like,
Martin, like they could have really cheaped out on that. It's got a you know, that
it
the
could
top
have been,
of the car flips over. You know, they've done a really good job with that.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, look at her face. Like her face looks good. So now I
exactly.
I think seeing this in person, that doesn't look like. I'm thinking of the photoshopped art back in Lord of the Rings playfield. You know, that just looks awful. This actually,
I'll take you over there to show you my Tron, and it's terrible.
Yeah, this actually looks. I think it looks good. I think.
Yeah,
I think it does.
Yeah,
I really do. And again,
I mean, there's a lot to look at it.
Yeah,
there's a lot going on that playfield.
There is. And
that's probably part of it, is that a lot of people look at it and they see like, whoa, there's a lot going on.
Well, I mean, think of like Deadpool. People complain that Deadpool's playfield was too busy, like too much stuff.
And only one color.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
This
That's
needs
the
to be
I
busy.
I mean,
This
right there, that
you're
particular shot, this shot right here. I mean, it is. It's a lot of faces. It's a lot of faces all in one area. But I get it. Oh, George did talk about each movie has its own color. So
and they're actually color coded, which is to that movie, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Because usually you get stuck into an RGB and then it's everything is the same color and it's blinking different colors, and it's like, what is up?
Yeah. No, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. So I don't know. That's art. Art is what it is. You want to talk?
What do you think, Hadi? Is that a thumbs up, thumbs down?
Honestly, again, calling back to the Batman 66 playfield art and the design there. This is what you can do with it. You've got a lot of personalities and characters to fill, and you want to make it as cohesive as possible. You don't want to just throw them anywhere. It looks good. Honestly, I love the way that they sort of outlined, okay, this is where your shot for the villains are going to go. This is where your multipliers for, I think the women are the multipliers, if I might be
Correct.
wrong there,
Yep. Yep.
but it's good. I think the color palette is great, as far as, contrasting the red, and then you got the blue and yellow, and it's not this one giant sort of bare space, which is what some open playfields can have. And I think that when we get to the discussion about mechs and toys and shots, I think they've done a really good job at hopefully pulling in non-Bond fans. My finger was on checkout this morning.
He was ready
So
to go. Yeah, you were
yeah, I
real
was
close
ready
to
to go.
buying.
So I mean, we don't play the art, but for
Yeah.
what the playfield has, I think if you're going to pick the weakest part of the art packages or the art on this pin, it's going to be the translates.
Okay.
But everything else, the playfield looks great.
Looks pretty good. Yeah, I've got to give Pinmonk actually makes some really cool gel inserts, because a lot of Deadpool's art, a lot of the inserts in the middle are all white. Turtles similar. A lot of games recently have a lot of white inserts. Not this. George went all out. I mean, almost every insert except for the main shot arrows are colored, and I would guess these shot arrows are RGB. So yeah, it's pretty. I'm okay with it. Like, I'm actually really okay with it. There's a ton of inserts here. Mike Vinacore said that during the podcast, that he's a huge proponent of visually being able to see what's going on. And so, the fact that like which Bond girls you have, or which this and this and this, all based on inserts, is
The
pretty
good thing
cool.
about Stranger Things too is you don't have to do a whole lot of looking around.
True. Yeah, it
Right.
communicates well.
What's interesting about this art package is if you look at it, there are sections of the playfield which are themed around the specific
Hmm.
film. So you've got Dr. No up in the pop bumper nest, which is all yellow like the movie,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And then to the left of that, you have You Only Live Twice, which is the rocket.
Yep.
The spinner is Diamonds Are Forever, so there's diamonds up in there.
Hmm.
You got Thunderball down there by the flipper, so it's all kind of underwatery.
Oh, right here. Okay.
Yeah, and then you got From Russia with Love, I think is the shot between the two ramps. Right
in
up-
this area. Yeah, it says
Yeah,
From
right up
Russia
through
with Love
there.
right there. Yeah.
Yeah. So then to the right of that, just below that, there's the Goldfinger stuff, which I assume is the DB7, the Q branch, or I'm
Mhm.
sorry, the DB5, the Aston, right? And then what? Dr. No is between the flippers, because that's not where you want to be. Oh wait, no, that's up at the bottom.
Yeah. No, it's arranged well. It's just one of those. I understand when none of us know the backstory and you just see a quick leaked photo, people are like, "What the heck
Yeah.
is this?" But now that we know, now that we understand what's going on, I'm
Especially
okay
when it
with
was taken by somebody from England with
some
a freaking
random, yeah.
BlackBerry 9900. Like, get a camera, man. If you're gonna steal sneak leak photos, at least get a freaking
Okay.
iPhone or a Pixel.
So let's just go ahead and knock this out. So speaking of leaked photos, there is okay, the leaked photos that came out 2 weeks ago was a guy taking pictures of the games at the convention. And then a few days later, there was high-res leaked photos that came out because there was a website, 007.com. It's some fan website. I don't know. David, you're probably like a subscriber to it. But it's some fan website. And earlier, like an hour before I started this stream, this picture emerged. And if you look at the URL, it's 007.com. So it's a public site. Yeah. And so this is an uploaded picture that's kind of, I don't know, somebody found it. Somebody found it. Google just indexed it. So yeah, somebody found it. But this is what looks to be the Keith Elwin 60th anniversary edition that's supposed to be announced later this year. So this is the only picture that's out there that I know of. And all we can really see here is art. So we've talked about art. So they took the idea of, instead of 6 movie posters on the side, they went with a lot of movie posters. And I'm assuming the other side is more movie posters. I don't know. Went with solid black in the front. So now we're back to the color scheme that I was talking about. Black and white. The apron looks to be black and white. You got red buttons, black and white with a hint of red. Red trim. White, though, interesting choice here, listing out all the movies. I do like this translate, though, because I do like the translate. It actually is 007. So this is what we're looking at for art. So for you three, initial impressions on this art package. We'll go with Hadi
Not,
first.
not.
No,
Hadi.
Dave.
I don't like it.
Okay.
I don't like it.
All right. So if we're
Yeah,
back,
This is coming from a guy who's like, I love all those movie posters.
I like
Yeah.
the back.
I know
box.
what every movie is from that translate. I can tell you what every movie those are.
yeah,
And I'm like,
it's
No art.
how do you do it though? Like how would you do this a better way unless you're doing? I mean, I don't really like the side cabinets. I'm okay with the translate, but this seems, I don't know. I don't love that just listing out the movies. But then again, we're talking about this earlier. There's a lot of limitations that are being put in by the licensor here. So
Mhm.
I don't
there's
know.
25 films.
And they're all listed here. And I'm
You
sorry,
put,
but
like-
Octopussy is what my eyes go to because it's right in the middle, right there.
You put images of the different bonds in some sort of cool arrangement, but I think you're looking at
Yeah.
again, what can you do with movie posters and
Yeah.
the properties inside them? I like the side of the back box.
Oh,
I do like the
Sterling.
translate the best. There's no art blades on this.
Exactly.
It looks like.
Sterling said that. No art blades, which is a
Yeah.
surprise. Yeah,
It's
you're right.
weird. Yeah,
Yeah.
for an
I,
LE
I
or
don't like
limited
that.
game.
That does not.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that's the art.
I would have gone away instead of doing something art, I would have tried to make the cabinet quite unique and retro in some way, I think, so it's not so much about the art as it is
007.
the shape or the genre or something. Do you know what I mean? Like I would have for a single level playfield, I would have really played up the retro vibe of this thing.
Yeah.
I think, even though I know they're trying to cover the full 60 years of the genre, I just think it would have been, they're trying to key off that retro with the score and those the rotating numbers in the back. It's kind of caught into it in a weird zone. Is it supposed to look modern? Is it supposed to be retro? Like what the hell is this thing?
Well, I'm
you
seeing
know?
Keith Elwin is in chat. So he says, yeah. Keith Elwin says, who says it doesn't have score reels? LOL. So that was something that stood out to me. And I think it's funny because this is where we're all going to realize how wrong we were. I listened to we listened to the podcast, right? Where look at the action button, start button, and coin door inserts. Okay, Keith, I'm going to follow whatever you say, man. They're blank. Does that look real? Uh-oh. Are we? Is Keith defunking this image right here? Debunking. So, Keith, obviously people are saying this wasn't found on Stern. This wasn't found on Pinside. This is found from 007.com. Oh, mock-ups. Mock-ups, I'm okay. Like, this definitely said mechanical. So, okay, you're saying they definitely said mechanical reel scores. Yes, right? But yet, what did it? I gotta find it. So one of you talk while I scroll.
Yeah, there was sort of we were getting confused from the text that came out on the transcript from the interview with George Gomez. And, initially we thought it was mechanical. And then we started looking further once that image got leaked. And we thought, oh, no, surely this has to be
I think it's
a
page
fake.
9.
Did you find it?
But
Okay.
Yeah, it says on page 9,
All right, yeah. So
right on the second paragraph.
he said
George's first one.
Yeah. So he said
Can't
right here.
read, guys.
It's
You know
got
that.
reels in the back box. So he says it's got reels in the back box. So I was like, boom, physical, totally physical. It's got to be physical. But the very next paragraph, it says, okay, where is? Oh, right here.
That's not the
Image.
next paragraph.
Imagine that reels are situated where you would expect where the LCD sits in the back box. So that's the thing. Are they situated as in simulated? Because that's what I'm seeing here. But I would hope that yes, we're taking this LCD out and we're putting in some other mechanical something to replace this section where the LCD is, and now we have physical reels, which makes sense based on this image. So Keith, I appreciate you actually pointing that out. Does this look real? So yes, I think we might be onto something here. This might be a mock-up. Now, what I will say is the playfield itself doesn't look like a mock-up because of what I see the odd job hat, right?
The source of that page is 007.com.
I know, but maybe they sent him an early. But yeah, you're right. The start button is this front. I don't know.
Wayne
I
has
might
a
have
little
just sent him
chapter
a
on the bottom.
placeholder just to throw people off a little bit too.
Hey, I'm
Who
okay
knows?
with it.
It would be less about
I
throwing
think
them
deep
off and
down,
more
yeah.
about that website screwing stuff up because they've had
Yeah.
not a great track record in the last 2 weeks.
Well, I know Keith enjoys stirring the pot a little bit. I think he likes being somewhat of a troll of his own. So, I mean, Keith, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is, hey, there's stuff here that I'm seeing that I'm liking, and what I'm seeing is the playfield. That's what I'm liking. But you're right. The fact that this doesn't have art blades is actually, I think we're onto something with it being incomplete. Like that really surprises me that it doesn't have art blades. But okay, so we probably shouldn't. And no insider connected. I know for a fact it has insider connected because it came up in the Gomez interview that it was going to have. There was going to be something like Keith Elwin, somewhat of a troll. No, I know. I think Keith. Hey, I interviewed him, and I think that guy likes to joke around a little bit. So I don't think he's like purposely leaking fake images just for and sitting there twiddling his thumb.
Oh, it's coming from inside the
No,
house.
I don't think that's I don't think that's happening. But interesting. Keith, I would not have noticed the start button without you pointing that out. So thank you for being here tonight. So
Details person.
what I will say is some of the stuff on the playfield I'm liking just already because I know there's inline drops. But hey, I'm excited. The people that I've talked to today, when it comes to Keith Elwin, what do we know is going to be good? This layout will be good. There's no way. There's no way it's not.
Keithspiracy. Do you want to hear my Keithspiracy?
Let's hear it. Yep.
I have a Keithspiracy.
Okay.
That is a trademark name. So
are you writing that down?
Quite a few years ago, I listened to some podcasts because it's what I add to Silverball Chronicles, a pinball history podcast on the Pinball Network.
Plug.
And I
gotta
listen to
mute
those,
this guy.
and I draw that information in and I use it in my podcast. So I heard a couple of interesting bits.
Mm-hmm.
And I made sure that I made timestamp notes so I could reference them in the future.
Mm.
And it's currently the future. So the first one is Loser Kid Pinball Podcast, episode 12. And they're on like 50 something now. Episode 12.
You actually have
Keith
notes in
Elwin.
front of you right now. Like you came
I do.
prepared for this.
Yes.
Wow.
No, man, I've had this in my phone for like 3 years.
Okay.
At 40 minutes, 30 seconds.
God. Yeah.
If you listen to that, Keith Elwin tells the Loser Kids that his dream theme is a spy theme. Okay. Ooh.
Is this a
Dead
spy? Is
silence.
this a spy pin?
Austin Powers.
Awesome.
So at that time, I'm like, I think Keith Elwin's doing James Bond because I've heard years ago that
But
they
he did
were coming
Archer.
up-
Like obviously he loved Archer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were talking about Archer, and they're like, "Well, what's your dream theme or whatever?" He's like, "I'd like to do a spy game."
Okay.
Okay. Then the next one is the Jurassic Park reveal stream with Dead Flip
Yep.
at 1 hour 28 minutes.
Mr. Ed.
He's correcting you right now, by the way, David. He said, "No
And-
way, dream theme is Mr. Ed." So, yeah.
So at
Wilbur
1
multiple.
hour 28 minutes on that podcast, Keith and Jack are talking about, what would you like to do for your next theme? And I'm pretty sure then he mentioned a spy theme as well.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's all I got to say about that. So that's my Keithspiracy.
Well,
That I think Keith Elwin has been mulling this over for quite a few years. Although that could be totally wrong. He probably could have been thrown on this.
yeah,
like
Mr.
last
Ed, man.
minute, but-
Mr. Ed is his. What?
Yeah,
Here's.
but he would like
here's
to do a spy theme.
you want to know why I think he's a troll? It's because last night on Dead Flip's stream, where he was playing Godzilla, he said, "I did not design a Bond pin." Like he said that very clearly to the entire chat. No, I did not design a Bond pin. And the very next day, George Gomez comes out and says, "Keith Elwin designed our 60th anniversary Bond pin." So that
First thing out of his mouth.
yeah. I didn't say
on a
that, Keith.
throne of
What did
lies.
you say? Keith, please, because maybe you chose your words very clearly. Yeah.
There's no timestamp.
There's no
If you don't have a timestamp, it did not
Yeah,
happen.
does exactly. Dennis is saying that. Dennis Kriesel does show me where I said that. Okay, Somebody go. he's texting Jack real quick. Delete the VOD. Delete the VOD. Well, that's awesome. Show me where I said that. All right. Okay. Yeah, I don't have it in my phone like David Dennis over here, but okay.
This is why Silverball Chronicles, a pinball history podcast.
God, mute. Here, I can beep him. Here we go. Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Let's take a look. Let's dive deeper. So now that we've gotten the theme, the license, everything out. Oh, by the way, Keith, you destroyed Ball 2, man. And I applaud the fact that you have Godzilla end. That's awesome. That's awesome. So random Godzilla talk. And yes, but okay. So let's look at this.
Sure, you don't want to talk about Deadpool for 20 minutes?
Okay, that's Dennis Creasel's joke. Okay, that's you got. It's a great game. It's a great game. Anyways, let's look at layout here. So I'm excited. This is something that
This is where the rubber meets the road here, my friend.
Yes, I'm excited about this because it is unique. It is unique, and it looks like a fun time. Dinner time, gotta go. Keith, thanks for being here, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate everything you do. Yeah. All right. So
enjoy your kielbasa's.
Dinner time. It's 10 o'clock in Chicago.
I know, dinner time at 11.
Dang, Keith. Okay. Yeah. All right. So, what do we have here? It is very right heavy. And because of that, how do you hit shots on the right side of a playfield? You have to hit them with the left flipper. So I do think just right off the bat.
Oh my God. Have I been doing that wrong my whole time?
So I do think right off the bat, this is going to be somewhat of a challenge for people because most people prefer games that you shoot majority from the right flipper. So, and George did say in his interview, he goes, this is not my easiest playfield. So he's kind of already let people know, hey, don't expect, but he said for the better players, this is a comboing dream. And when you actually look at the layout here, there's a lot here. I mean, maybe you can backhand this ramp. That'll be the one thing I'll be curious. Can you backhand this ramp or can you backhand this orbit? Because the shot here between the ramps is actually an orbit. And then this looks to be a controlled gate. So I just like Deadpool, I'm assuming if you hit this shot, sometimes it'll purposely drop it down into the pops. Other time that gate will open and it'll allow it to feed to the upper left flipper. So that could be cool. George also did point out this is only the second game that he's designed that isn't a two flipper game. His very first game, which is Corvette, and now this game. So pretty cool that George is going out on a limb there and trying something new. What else? I don't have to describe it. Yeah, Hadi, what's something on this playfield that you see layout wise that excites you?
Oh, Jetpack Johnny in the back.
Okay.
I think that's an amazing sort of Bond on a wand, dropping it onto the tank.
Yeah.
The habit trails, obviously on the right side, being fed. The nod to Creature from the Black Lagoon on the left-hand side with the little James Bond behind the left flipper. This is I have a strong feeling this is going to be a fun pin to shoot once you sort of get dialed in as to where your shots are, but also mathematically, we've said it on another episode, I love stacking. This looks like a stacker's dream with all the different characters, your action button affecting your multiplier, your playfield multiplier.
Yep.
The back nuclear or the back missile, whatever you want to call it, special wand. That is an interesting shot with the little ramp around it, but I think the Aston Martin VUC
That's
is
what you're
super
excited
cool. One of my favorite things on the AIQ is I know most people have issues with it, but the subway, it goes through, comes out of the Hank Pym building.
Yep.
So it reminds me of that. I think it's a really cool nod, and I think it's a smart way to incorporate the iconic Aston Martin into the pin and make it fun and make it sort of an experience like the building on Godzilla Premium. This is a very, very fun looking playfield. The mechs look like a blast to enjoy and watch and hit and shoot. If it's going to be hard, that's good because it's going to take you some time to figure out exactly where you need to be.
Yeah, no, that's a great, you said that very well. So Foo Fighter here, this is where Keith talked about his next game on the last night's stream. He never said he didn't make Bond. I swear I heard him say I was not involved in making a Bond pin or something. Like it was very, now I'm going to have to go back and watch the whole freaking
He said he didn't
stream.
reskin. He said he didn't reskin Quicksilver. which is the rumor
Okay.
that was going
Careful
around.
choice of words. Yeah. The reskin of Quicksilver was the rumor. Okay. All right. Well, maybe I should have paid more attention. He's a professional. Got it. Okay. So, yes, let's talk a little bit more about some of these shots. This shot over here to the far left, I was really curious about this. So it's an acrylic panel. It lights up. There's actually a good picture of it here that I can find. You know, a true professional would have like, there it is. Hey, look at that. It just happened to be right there.
You set that up. Perfect.
Yeah. Now, I
That's
don't
so
necessarily
cool.
like that you see the sliding playfield rail like right there, but they did add art. They did add art to the underside of the cabinet, and apparently this moves. So it actually
It
moves
looks
down
like it
there,
jiggles.
and there's a light. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just supposed to jiggle with the machine as you're kind of nudging and stuff like that. You can
Oh,
kind of
you
see
think
them
it's like
mock fighting.
okay. Yeah, I don't
Like
know,
the fall tilt bob.
but it is unique. It is unique. I got to give him that. I haven't seen, I mean, the last time that this was anything like this was involved was what? Creature? I mean, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty cool. That is,
It is
I'll,
cool.
I'll give him that. Now that shot though, it is literally you're hitting a wall. You're hitting a wall, and then the ball falls down into a scoop.
There's like a grommet there, a little plastic
Yeah.
grommet.
Now turtles on the left flipper, you have that same type of shot. There's no grommet, like you're hitting a metal wall and then it falls down. But this is falling into a scoop, and then it looks like that scoop just shoots it up. I think it aims essentially at this target, so it's going to shoot it somewhere in that vicinity. So I don't know. I think that's a pretty cool shot. This left shot, orbit spinner, or I mean, it's an orbit, but it's an optical spinner. So that thing, I hope it has a great sound. It's a diamond, so I'm really curious what that sound's going to be. I hope it's nothing like a bell, because like from Toy Story, I hope it's nothing like a bell. But I'll be really curious to hear what this
I'll have nightmares
sounds
about
like.
that bell, don't you?
Yeah, ding, ding, ding. But it does have it does have a shot similar to Deadpool with the katana ramp or Stranger Things, where you're hitting a left orbit, it whips around, and it'll go all the way around and feed your left flipper. So I'm a fan of that shot.
That shot looks so awesome.
It looks like that'll be a fun shot. And there is an up post here. So depending on the mode, it'll kick that up, and then the magnet with your bond on a wand will swing out. Now, I am curious with the bond on a wand, is this going to be a timing thing? Or is this going to slowly go out and you have to time it just right to hit this target? Or is it just going to go out and stop? And then you have to
on the podcast, it sounded like there's going to be various levels of skill on the Bond jetpack. So maybe the first time the super jackpot is he goes and he grabs it and he puts it and he drops it on the thing right away. Then maybe the next time you have to use your flippers to move it yourself. Or maybe you have to hit the button to drop it, right? Like I think there's going to be various levels of play there. But that is
because it goes
cool.
Yeah, it kind of goes fast, but then obviously they just skip to it stopping. So I'm curious if it's designed in a way where it could go past it, and then you really do have to time it, or maybe what you're saying, there may be a point where I don't know. So I don't know
cool
how that's going to work, but it does look unique. So right there, does the missile have a coil? If you look even in that image, the missile's moving on its own.
Looks
so
like
yes,
it's a big spring.
I don't think it's moving because you hit it. I think it does move on its own. Because these targets back here, there's 7 targets that surround the missile.
Does it have multiple modes where it changes the way it jiggles or the speed?
I think it's just like a bobblehead, Joel. I think
you think it's just a spring.
Yeah.
I think it's just a spring too.
I don't know,
but
because if you hit this specter, the word specter in the back, apparently there's a target here that each one of these targets represents the letters inspector. So you have to spell it. So in a perfect world, you get the ball back there, and I was hoping this would bounce it around enough, like keep it. It would be adding energy into it, not just you hit the ball back and it bounces a little bit and then dribbles out.
I see.
Okay. So you think it adds a little bit extra?
It's actually vibrating in there.
I think it. I think it does. Yeah. Chat, let me know if I'm an idiot, but I or not. I mean, just. But yeah, let me. I think it adds. I think there's something mechanical involved in that missile, and maybe
this is almost like a cooler. And somebody else had mentioned. Oh my God, that's Dalton. Right, talking about the 2012 Avengers, where it's like the Hulk area back there behind the ramp.
Yeah,
this is almost like a better version of that, and I'm wondering if you can shoot it between that gap by the drop targets. If you can actually get it to loop up, around, and down behind.
See, Okay.
the
So
targets, because that was the cool thing about the Hulk spot with Avengers, the Avengers, was that when you shot it up there, it would hit the drop targets and roll out behind it.
look at this. I think it's doing it on its own because that ball is hitting the left drop and then it's ricocheting towards the right. And that thing's moving
Yeah,
a
okay.
lot for it not
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah,
hit.
yeah, I think you're probably right. It probably has a coil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Well,
is
that
good.
makes me even happier then.
Yeah. I don't think it's just a, I think Stearns learned to stop putting stuff on a spring and calling it a toy, but I like it. I think that'll be a unique
yeah.
thing. On the premium here, we
There's
got
a
3.
gate there as well, that it can't go back through that rollover. It has to go right back into the orbit on the left.
So it goes out the left, which is great because that'll keep it from going straight down the middle.
Yeah.
So it'll feed the left flipper.
See,
So
it's
that's
those little things that Gomez
Yeah.
does, man.
That's good. And it's smart too, because I was trying to think there's a lot of shots that you're trying to hit from this left flipper. So what feeds the left flipper? Well, it's if this gate right here is up, it looks like the right orbit will feed the left flipper. Shooting straight up the middle should feed the left flipper unless the diverter springs out.
Mhm.
Or if you shoot these drops, hitting all 3 drops down will get you back in this area. Or hitting right here will get you back in this area. And then the fact that it will feed out nice and slow to your left flipper. It's actually, to have a lot of shots that you have to hit from the left flipper, that's awesome that there's multiple things that feed it. That's
Cool.
that's one of my only, not my only, but like Rush. There's only, not Rush. Yeah, never mind. Rush, you can feed the upper flipper all the time. That's a bad example. I'm trying to think. There was a game recently I played where the upper flipper, there was only, like Toy Story. The only way to feed the upper flipper in Toy Story is to hit it in the pops and hope it spits it out on the right, or to hit the Woody shot. That's the only way. What do you think about Rush, Joe? Rush is great. I can't talk about Rush with Dalton in chat. And if I say something about Rush, Ray Day will say hello. Like it'll be within like 3 seconds. Ray Day will say hi. It'll happen.
Yeah, but what about Deadpool, Joel?
Hey, Deadpool's a
Halloween.
great game. I don't know if you played it yet. So.
I think too, Stern learned a lot from releases that where the art package was not sort of well received, like Jurassic Park, where they skimped on certain licenses, like that Jeep license. And you can tell Gomez has gone the extra mile. Even the way they've laid out this playfield. I mean, can you imagine just putting in all these inserts and taking the time to think about where all these people should go, how it's going to look. I mean, he's put in...
Ray Day just showed up. Sorry, Craig.
That's okay.
Ray Day's here. Yep. Go ahead. Sorry, Craig.
I just look at this playfield and the layout, and I think it's fresh. I think it's very mech heavy, which again the community has been pounding the table for.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's it's too bad, and for that, unfortunately, you're going to pay for it. It'll be interesting to see if they have mechanical problems with this, because the downside of having a lot of mechs is, of course, you've got more possibilities for things going wrong. So it'll be interesting to see what the problems are with this game, because there usually are some problems with all the games at some point. But I think overall, I know it hasn't been a very release heavy year, but I don't see what beats this game as game of the year this year. I think this beats Rush just based on the layout.
Everybody in chat is a Rush fan. Just letting you know. Yeah. No, sorry, Craig.
It's your own funeral, Craig.
Yeah.
And I am a Rush fan,
but
I gotta say this layout is quite unique, and
flipped
quite fresh.
Yeah.
Have you flipped Spinal Tap yet?
No, I don't think anybody has. I will say, just to defend, Rush is a the code in Rush really is a fantastic
game. Rush
game.
is a great game.
And I will tell you,
It's
Mike,
not Deadpool, though.
Mike, the pinball with pinballers will defend it. He said he's getting pissed when he's seeing all these Rush people post these games of 10 billion points. And Mike and Carter are good players, and they are not scoring that high. And I'm telling you, thank you for people for 50 or 89th. Yeah. People are like the Rush that I had kicked my butt. Okay. And I played when I was at Cleepin, I played a Rush Premium, and it shot way better than the Rush that I had here. So I still have a lot of love. I'm just play better.
Interesting enough, George Gomez is a huge James Bond fan.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Big time. He touched on it a little bit during the Stern podcast, the Insider podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was doing listening to his old interviews and old recordings that he's done and stuff like that, he's told various stories. Like George Gomez did Spy Hunter, if you guys remember that game where you're
Yep.
the car and you gotta shoot the guys in front of you. And the old arcade game, and it was on Nintendo. So it was fantastic. Really great game. That is more or less a James Bond ripoff. Well, he was flying to Japan to go to like a JAMA conference when he was working at Midway in the gaming division. And like on the airplane, he was listening to James Bond music on his Walkman. You know what I mean? Like
the chat's requesting timestamps, by the way. If
yeah,
gonna...
I don't have the timestamp, but I
Didn't
do have.
happen.
Well, I can tell you if you listen to the George Gomez episode of Silverball Chronicles,
Oh
the
God,
Pinball History podcast.
no!
The archive
it.
is Silverball Chronicles at
There we go.
silverballchronicles.com. So in that episode, I actually found, okay, in this interview, he actually has it. So I outlined it. And he is a huge, like him and I, honestly, him and I are like best friends.
No, you don't have friends.
We're like this. He loves Porsches. I love Porsches.
Mm-hmm,
He loves James Bond. I love James Bond. He loves
pinball.
Like,
you love pinball.
I love
yeah.
pinball.
He
Right?
has a restraining order
Cuban
against
American living in the United States, Chicago. I'm a Canadian.
So here's a question, and Squalito,
Okay.
thanks for asking it. If you're really George Gomez's like best friend, did you buy his game today?
I no, but yes, I will. Not today, but I am. Is my wife and I are trying to determine: are we going premium?
And you have
we
to
going-
remortgage the house.
Premium or Pro? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we're
So
gonna get.
I did find like I heard a very solid rumor about this time last year that James Bond is happening, and I didn't hear it from the usual like sources. And it's the first time that I actually heard like, oh hey, they're working on James Bond, and I'm like, oh that'd be awesome. And then it's like, hey, I hear Steve Ritchie is working on James Bond after Expo of last year, and I'm like, okay. So then I sold my Simpsons Pinball Party to free up the cash to then put aside to put down towards this. And then the whole thing with Steve Ritchie leaving Stern and them throwing out his Whitewood and then restarting the project. And I'm like, oh man, that sucks. I sold a pinball machine in the expectations of and it was a pretty credible source. And
Bill from Memphis here has, sorry to interrupt, Bill from Memphis, he has a really good question here.
Simpsons sucks, so you didn't lose much.
David, he's asking, David, have you interviewed George on your podcast?
No.
Oh,
so
I have.
Yeah, I don't interview my best friend.
I don't interview my best friend.
Yeah.
No, what I do on the podcast, what I do is I listen to old interviews and read old articles, and I take their quotes because their quotes are things from like 2006. So he's very much open about what he's saying in 2006 than he would be today. Silverballchronicles.com.
Yeah. So let's keep talking about this. Oh, did I cut you off? I'm fine with cutting you off.
So he's a huge James Bond fan. So he's had years and years to sit down and say, man, if I did a James Bond pinball machine, what would I do?
So he was ready. So when Steve left, he was like, I'm in. I'm ready to go.
So when Steve left, he's like, I'm throwing this garbage out. And you know what? I'm putting the rocket in there with the drop targets in front of it like I wanted to. And I want to put the DB, the VUC with the flip open. Like he had I bet you he thought of that stuff freaking 20 years ago.
Yeah. I agree, and I think there's a lot of love here, especially when you realize he's squeezed 6 movies into one layout. So this upper flipper, so we're kind of working our way around this tank shot. What is interesting is it looks like this. I don't know. It's just a straight stand up right in the middle. It looks like it could be somewhat of a dangerous shot because it's right in the middle. And on the Pro, I think that's really the only way that you're going to engage with the Dragon, I think is what they call it. But this shot over here to the right of it, that's what I was curious. The arrow is pointing into the pops, but that looks like a pretty tight shot, and you can only hit that, or maybe you can get it with the left flipper. But that I was curious, like, is this only an exit path for the pops, or is this an entrance because of the arrow? And this picture right here actually makes it look like an entrance. So that's going to be a tight shot. Tight but findable. Yep. Dennis is here. Dennis Creasel, yes. And then right to the right of that is it looks like an inner loop. So you have an inner loop shot right here, which is going to swing around up into this pop area. And then this outer loop is this orbit down here, which you're definitely going to be able to hit from the left. And then, so you have your henchman modes, which you're going to have to hit with this left flipper. And George did mention that on his podcast. He said, if you have features that are behind or hidden behind an upper flipper, a novice player is never going to see them. So it makes sense to me that you start your villain modes down here. Your big modes, let's make that accessible from the lower flippers. These henchman modes, I'll be curious how different those are. What that Joel's beat NBA. Yes, I have. Yeah.
Do you think that any of those ramps lift up Joel at all? Like, is that second
No.
ramp there got a hinge on it or anything
There's
like
no
that?
way it does. And I saw there was a
Okay.
video that a guy put out on that. He thought this area right here looked a little weird, and he thought there was
Yeah.
a chance there was going to be something mechanical here. And the only reason I would say it doesn't is because it's not featured anywhere. Like all these
Okay.
things. What is it, Dalton? Joel has
Yeah, you
obviously
would have
no
seen
idea
it
what
in
that
this
shot is
video.
ripped from. NBA
Yeah.
Fast Break I've played, but it looks totally. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, where it spits out. Yeah. And you can shoot it to get it back into the pops, but it's a tight shot. No, it's not there. They would have showed that. They would have showed something here. I just assume that that's part of the manufacturing process. This scene,
Okay.
that would be my guess. The pop
Okay.
switch.
Those
Yeah.
minor modes are probably gonna be like the TV villains on Batman 66.
I
So
would guess. Yeah.
they affect your game in the long run. Like, oh, get a frozen timer,
Sure.
get a extra multiplier on the playfield for your action button.
Okay. No, I think you're right. So that's what we can talk about that for a second. It looks like your main modes, which I'm assuming shots and everything are going to change. There'll be variety with your main villains. I'm guessing for you to like complete a movie, I'm guessing you have to do, I would assume, the main villain, the minor villain, and the Bond woman, and maybe a weapon, and maybe a gadget. All like, I don't know if you have to collect all of those for each movie to get the main insert to light up. I don't know, but
The wizard mode called Her Majesty's Secret
Her
Service.
Majesty's
Her
Secret
Majesty-
Service, yeah,
Okay.
there at the end. So there's a lot here, but they did talk about the Bond women in the interview, and they basically said there will be certain to qualify a Bond woman. Each woman has a different shot or different series of shots that relate to them, so you can qualify them. I'm assuming then you probably have to hit this upper loop to like qualify it. So I'm assuming it's like light and then qualify. And they're saying for every Bond woman that you have lit, it'll give you a chance at a playfield multiplier, all the way up to if you light all 6, then it'll give you the chance of the 007 playfield multiplier. And this is something where you choose when you want to engage it. So it's like, oh, I'm finishing my mode, boom, engage. And they said the more you have, the longer that playfield multiplier will last. So it's going to be very strategic on the risk reward. And they also said when you drain, you'll lose your Bond women per ball. So it's that I think there'll be some really interesting strategery there on.
I think that's brilliant for tournament play.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to figure out exactly when, how far down are you? How long am I going to be able to last?
Yeah.
And hopefully get out of this division or group that I'm in.
Yeah. So that'll be a pretty unique system, and I'll be curious how that works. And you were talking earlier about stacking, so it'll be like, okay, is this going to be kind of like Batman 66, where let me get this minor villain, which helps me in this area. Let me get into this mode. Let me get this multi-ball started, and then end it all at the same time in my 007 playfield multiplier and blow it all up. I don't know. Stacking Bond women less, please. Okay. All right. Yeah. I don't know. There's some cool stuff here with layout, but I will say, I mean, it's a unique looking layout. It looks fun. It looks far from barren. It's not your typical fan layout. Now, you talked earlier about mechs, if certain mechs would go down. So, like, this whole Bond on a wand isn't there. So I would assume if this mech goes down, you could turn it off and it'll probably just use the same code that the Pro uses. Same thing with this physical ball lock here for the missile. That physical ball lock isn't there on the Pro. So if something goes wrong there, you can probably just turn it off and it'll use the same code that the Pro uses. Joel, point out the instructions on the playfield. What do you mean?
Mm-hmm.
You expect me to like
It's detailed
read
and tells you what to do, what to shoot.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a great amount of detailed text, which is perfect because you don't always have time to look at the bottom left of your apron and figure out how to, what to shoot, where to shoot. So the fact that they've made it very sort of in your face is a very nice touch.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and let's just watch this. And if we see anything that stands out, let's mention that, and then make sure we've talked about, because we still have plenty to talk about. We still have to talk about how this went. We need to talk about money. I know David loves talking about money. So let me Stern Insider Connected. We know that. They did say
Does this beat does this beat TS4 for as a better game, do you think? Just based on what we can see here? So.
Well, it depends on. I mean, Toy Story 4 had 7 modes that you had to do, 7 things you had to do to qualify the final wizard mode, and then then you have to do it all over again. So this has 6 major villains, 6 minor villains, at least 2 multi-balls. I mean, I think there's more here to do. I think that would be a realistic thing.
I'm worried for the wear and tear on that Vuck though.
Oh, coming out of the hinge. I mean, straight up here, here's a movie clip. We don't know yet, like sounds. I will be very curious. They haven't said anything about call outs. So I would assume they're going to get a Sean Connery impersonator. But I don't know if that's in poor taste, being that he's no longer living. I don't know. But all the directions on the game written around the playfield rather than just on the instruction card. We're going back to putting instructions on the playfield like old days, baby. All right. Craig, if it's supposedly better than Rush, do you need to ask about TS4? You're scaring me, Bobby. Yeah, Craig, you're digging a hole, man, with Ray Day. Can you slow-mo the car inject? Sure. What's the question? It's coming. It hinges right here in the back, and it just goes bloop. Do you see it? It flaps.
Good slow-mo. Good job.
Hey, you just going,
like
going
that's
the
very
same speed.
Clever the way they did that.
Playback speed 5%. Here we go. Look at this. There's your slow-mo. Blup. Is that slow enough?
Genius.
I mean, it looks like we're getting movie scenes.
We'll just go
hopefully.
slow-mo the rest of the time.
That's a big deal.
They did get movie scenes.
I
great.
don't think they cheap out on that.
If that lid ain't metal, it's breaking. Good point. I don't know about that.
I'm very worried about that.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm looking at the rocket. Does the rocket move when a ball's not around it? And I think the answer is more than just a spring. So here's this thing coming off, and I don't know if it goes past, if it has a chance to go past this target. That's my question. Or if it just defaults to right where it needs to be when it drops.
It would be nice if that's a timed action, like the Dirty Harry gun, T2 gun. Like that would be cool.
I really think right there. I really think this thing is moving on its own. Yeah, it's moving right there. Like it's still moving. There's no way. That would be the flimsiest spring if it wasn't. I love drop targets. Sign me up for those. 3 drops sounds great. And then it looks like there's a gate there, so it doesn't really want you to trickle back down in the middle. Oh, that's not a gate. That's a switch. Okay. I like this diverter too, by the way.
Very cool. Multi-ball lock.
Yeah, I think that diverter swinging out.
I mean, that's very cool.
That's very fun.
Now, unfortunately, it's not like it diverts and just feeds. It's divert, go into a vuck, wait a second, and then trickle down. But still, it should look pretty good. That's where the dragon lives. That's a quote. Is that from the movie there, David?
Yeah, it is. That's what his sidekick, the fellow, what's his name?
I don't know.
Crap. The fellow that takes him to the island where Dr. No is says that.
That's where
everybody's very scared that there's a dragon on the island.
And that's the dragon. It's a car with flamethrower.
And then it turns out it's like a car with a flamethrower.
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
All right. That's where the dragon lives. All right. Opto spinner, all about that. How does that drop out, by the way? So it's
left.
it drops out to the left. Oh, it just So something plops
one
out
by
and
one.
goes bloop bloop bloop.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple mech.
Okay.
But it's got such a big impact. It's so impressive.
It's
I
nice
like
if it's
physical
one by
ball
one.
locks. Yeah. Bloop bloop bloop. I like being able to see how many balls are
A little
locked.
bit like the couch in
Exactly.
Simpsons.
in The Simpsons or the Wonka
Is this
Vader.
going to show me moving? Is it going to move? Yeah, it moved. It moved a little bit.
If you're not tilting, you're not trying.
There it goes. It's moving a lot. Yeah.
It would be cool if that moved for however hard you hit a very target. Like if they brought back a very target, like that would be super cool on that. Side.
No mask or air used by Bond underwater. Great lung capacity. The best lung capacity. That looks like a smooth shot, that right ramp.
That ramp is so neat. How has nobody ever done that before?
A ramp that immediately feeds back. You mean George Gomez and Deadpool, who did that on the left side? Or you're talking about a two entrance
Two
ramp?
entrance
Okay,
ramp.
all right,
Same
Mhm.
sort of end point.
sure.
But two totally different
entrances.
entrances in the shot in between. Like for some reason, that's just like, man, that is such a good idea.
Back to the Future apparently did it. Dalton is
What?
Black Rose, baby. Ray Day's coming in with 2 Rams. Yeah, here come the
Rose had
real
one of those?
historians. Joel loves it.
That was on the
yeah.
left side. I guess it was Black Rose, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Black Wand, Bond on a Wand hype. Okay, so this up post. Was this Keith who did this first in Jurassic Park? This where it feeds the in lane, up post comes up and it pauses. Was Jurassic Park the first?
They had one of those in Cactus Canyon.
Cactus
had it,
Canyon,
too.
yeah, when you shoot. Yeah. Okay. I
For
love
gunfight.
that. I love
They had
that.
one on either side, I think. or
Yeah,
both sides.
here's chat coming in pointing out. Yeah, I'm an idiot. 5 years, okay? I've been here at least 5, but I'm not.
I've stopped talking now. I've stopped talking.
Hey, it's fine. You just got to embrace it, Craig, that
Not talk about Halloween. Don't
No.
the whole time. Don't talk about Halloween the whole time.
Have a subway system.
I really like
No.
this system though for the
No.
idea of an up post being what starts the mode because it feeds the flipper like you're ready to go. You're just ready to go instead of it going in a scoop and then you have to worry about cradling or getting control of the ball. Like it just allows you to get right in. I like that up post. I like it a lot. Looks like Zach's here. Poor Dave is trying to stay awake. The only thing that keeps him fired up is Bond. Yeah.
I am so tired. You can see it in my face.
Hey, you're doing great. You know,
12:30 where I'm at, by the way. It's 12:30.
yeah. Give him some tears in chat, guys, because whatever. All right, this is a cool shot. This isn't going to happen normally where you feed 2 perfectly down the same habit, but that's a good shot. Whoever planned that. So timestamp this on
We
your
all
phone.
know it was Keith.
Yeah.
Cradling left and right, hit them at the same time. That's a clip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the overall, I would say the mechs are pretty slick. I think it shoots well. I think it
Well, I
lays out
should've bought
well.
one.
Zach, I see you're in chat. Do you have any statement or anything you want to say? I'm assuming it sold well today. Do you have a percent maybe yet on like Pro versus Premium? Because the Pro, that's one thing. I'm excited to play the Pro, but the layout's the same. It's just we don't have our
give us
mech.
your take, Zach, on is it outselling Rush, underselling Rush, underselling Godzilla, overselling Godzilla on day one?
Well, I thought an interesting thing was how what came out recently? Toy Story. And for sure this sold more than Toy Story. It's also cheaper than Toy Story.
35 million day one.
Well, yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see a good point. What is Zach's take? Bye. That'll be isn't the amount sold from a distro perspective just how many get shipped to them? Well, Ray, Zach just makes a list, right? So that sales were really great. Pro and Premium discrepancy much closer than most titles released in the last 3 to 5 years. Good.
And Churro asked, "What's the hardest shot on the pin? Do you think?" I think between the 2 ramps.
Between the 2, okay. So once again, left flipper shots are typically harder for some. If you think about it, this Austin Martin shot is pretty low down, so that'll be similar to like the scoop on Godzilla. I think this shot here is pretty open, so I think that won't be that hard. This shouldn't be that bad. These shouldn't be that bad. This does look like a pretty tight shot, especially if you can hit that shot that I was saying to squeeze that into pops. If you can hit that from the lower left, that's a pretty tight shot. I think it's going to be really hard from the upper left. Personally, I'm leaning towards that. Otherwise, yeah, this shot, the right orbit, may be kind of tough. We'll see. Conti's leaning pro. Bond likes it tight. Wow, good one. Good one. A lot of people liking pro, but still heavy premiums. Yeah, I think the layout, all the fun of the layout is still here. It's just we don't get the mechanical lock of the ball lock here with the missile. You don't get the Bond on a wand, which I love. I love that name. Wind Raider, what is even up in the upper right to want to shoot the narrow shot? If it's part of a mode, to kill the guy or something, then you'll have to hit it. Or once again in Deadpool, there's certain modes where it's all about hits, so you want to get up in the pops. They're if a shot's there, they're gonna make it fun.
It's like the Godzilla left spinner on the very left side. You need it for Ebera, or you need it for tank shot.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're at 11:30. We need to squeeze this in. I know it's everybody's favorite time, so we got to do our sponsorship video. We're going to do this real quick. It's 3 minutes. We really appreciate the 8 sponsors we have. So let's knock this out. Pinmonk, one of the 8 sponsors, hates this video, but we got to do it. So let's knock this out real quick. If you need to pee, if you need to get a drink, anything like that, do it. Otherwise, watch the sponsor video. When we come back, we're going to talk more about code and we're going to talk about pricing. So enjoy this video.
Your pinball machine deserves the best. At Comet Pinball, you'll find the best variety of LED products with the best quality LEDs, and most importantly, at the best price. Your collection is begging for an upgrade. Order yours now at cometpinball.com.
Scorbit is excited to announce Achievements, the latest in an amazing series of features available to thousands of connected pinball machines around the world. Achievements are part of Scorbit's free open platform. Scorbit already supports hundreds of pinball machines from the 1970s to today. Give your games new life by connecting them to the Scorbit platform and the universe of applications for pinball machines.
All right, we are back. And once again, this is the Pinball Network. So if you happen to be watching this on YouTube or after the fact, usually I do these every other Wednesday from 10 to midnight Eastern Standard Time. Otherwise, you're more than welcome to catch them on YouTube afterwards. So appreciate that. Appreciate chat, everybody in chat for sticking around. This is our schedule of other TPN streamers. So Jordan Becca on Sunday, Hadi, who's on the chat tonight on Mondays, Lisa, Mike, and Carter on Tuesdays. I'm normally on Wednesdays with Flipping Out. Thursdays, it would be Chuck Wirt, followed by George Don't Panic Flip, who's streaming in like 30 minutes, so definitely stick around to watch him. And then Saturdays would be Jedi McMuffin. I appreciate the sponsors we have. Comet Pinball, all your LED needs. Measle Mods, some awesome mods to add into your newer games. Scorebit, if you want to put any game on the internet, you can put in a Scorebit board. Stern Pinball, makers of some incredible games, including this one that we're talking about tonight. Doug Speaker Light Kits, you're going to see them behind me very shortly. If you buy a set, you will want them in all your games. Pinball Photos, make some amazing merch and stuff that you can hang in your game room. Check them out. Zach and Nicole at Flippin' Out. If you want to buy this game, reach out to Zach or Nicole at Flippin' Out and do that. Also, any new accessories, anything like that, hit them up. Good people. And last but not least, in chat, we have Pin Monk, who is the he makes the flipper fans and the flipper cooling fans and the silent fan mod, all those good things. So great sponsors, really appreciate them. Check them all out. So things to discuss that are last. So code. Well, actually, we need to wake David up. Let's wake David up a little bit. Okay. He's a little tuckered out. David, you are a financial advisor, so I know talking money that's what gets you going, right?
It's something.
It's something. So let's talk about pricing. Pricing. Before today, a Pro Godzilla, $68.99. So what's a Pro James Bond? $69.99. That's a nice $100. Fine. I can see $100. $100. That's nothing new. Now, with this said, I don't know if they've officially announced this anywhere, but last time there was a price increase, which is when Godzilla came out, this is the current pricing, but then January 1st, all games are going to this pricing. So keep that in mind. There is a good chance that this isn't just James Bond that's going to go up. So a Pro now is $7,000, which in Canadian money for the two of you, Craig and David, is
loonies.
Is what, like 4,500 loonies?
$7,000?
45,000 loonies. I don't know. $7,000.
It's 9,500.
Whew. Okay. So
that's a direct change.
Direct.
Now, in Canada, we also have higher sales tax rates, except for Alberta, because they're like Canada's America. And we have in my province, we have a 15% sales tax.
So you have to throw 15% on top of this.
So 9,500 plus 15%.
You're over $10,000, easy.
Yeah, that's
a Pro.
13 something.
13 something for a Pro?
No, hold on a second. It was, what did I say it was? Oh, this is great.
9,500.
Financial guy with the math.
Guy. Wait, what are those
Fantastic,
numbers?
yeah.
What
did I say the price was?
10,900 and change.
Yeah,
10,900 and you're almost at $11,000 for a
basically
Pro.
$11,000 if you throw in if shipping.
For a Pro. Okay. All right. Well, premium, we got quite a hike here. A premium Godzilla was right at $9,000. It's like $8,999 or something. We're now up to $9,700. So $700 increase for a premium. So the reason I'm bringing this up, if anybody in chat is wanting to buy a premium of any other game, I'm basically telling you, you should try to do that between now and the end of the year. I don't know that for a fact, but I think there's a good chance come January 1st, everything's going up. So if you want to save $700, you have between now and the end of the year to try to get a premium. Hopefully you got something in stock. So we will see there. That's the premium.
That's the issue, right? It's trying to find something that's actually around.
Well, down here in the States, there are Rushes and Mandos and what else is Zach? You list everything you got in stock. I think he's got Cactus Canyon, Toy Story, stuff that's not Stern. But anyways, that's the premium. But the limited edition,
so in Canada, let's wind that back. In Canada, that's $13,000.
Is just base, or that's for everything?
That's the base price plus 15%. Now in Craig's province, over here. No, over there.
There you go.
Craig's province.
Yeah.
His is 13%, so he gets a little bit of a break.
That a boy.
In Alberta, I think it's like 7%.
Craig, you should buy David's and then charge him the 1%. Have him meet you in the middle and just pocket that.
See, this is what I need.
You need the inside.
Steaming, dirty Southern America.
What you need is somebody in America to buy you one and meet you on the border. That's what you need. Yeah.
So when you add tax, that's $15,000.
That's $15,000 for a premium, and that's
Whew.
what's so crazy is that may be the premiums from here on out. That's what's okay. And then the LE of Rush, which was the last game to come out, was $10,999. It was $11,000. So now they've gone up $2,000.
Oof.
$2,000 in the LE. So Mr. Hadi, Mr. the elitist of the group, how's that feel?
It sucks.
Yeah.
It's it's. I think they're doing it to hopefully shake out the secondary market on LEs.
Okay.
I got into the hobby late, and the first pin I got was an LE, an AIQ, and I really enjoyed it. So the rest of my pins are LEs. But man, I was looking at a JP LE, and it's 17.
So
I offered 16 for a Stranger Things LE. No biters. It's just
wow.
one of those things where I'm hoping this price increase helps that, but at the same time, it's not relative to the other price increases. However, I think Stern knows that if you have a crowd or a demographic that's willing to pay
Yeah.
10, 11 for an LE, 13 is probably going to still reel them in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 17,500 Canadian.
That's so what I think's crazy is
$20,000, $20,200
for the
Canadian.
LE. So Scott from Loser Kid, we were in our messaging group. He said he bought his Jurassic Park LE new for $89.99. I mean, that was new. That was new, and
deal.
Jurassic Park wasn't that long ago. And now
But
we're
I
at
heard they couldn't give away Stranger Things LEs,
Correct.
and now
Deadpool
they're
LE took years to get rid of.
yeah,
they're
it's
the
just-
most. I think just market trends, quick segment. I think they're the most sought after LE right now.
Yeah.
Like hands down.
Stranger Things,
So
I'll give you
crazy.
that. Yeah. So, okay. So that's pricing. So I don't know, David. I mean, we don't have to go too, but I know this has been a hard day on you. This has been a hard day on you. But what was in your head, or is that, I mean, there was a lot of people it was really easy to justify, like, you know what, buy the LE, because once you add in anti-reflective glass and a shaker motor and art blades and this, like, and if you do it was a good deal, because the difference between the two pricing was what, like $1,000 or something, $1,500, and then now, no. No.
So there's a couple of things there. Like, one of them is when I heard that there was this, I got on the list, right? And there is no actual the list, but I'm on a list, and I didn't get a call today, which makes me think I'm not very high on.
I think
that
you're
list.
down on the list. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably on the same list as Ed Robertson. He's probably getting a call.
Yeah.
I'm not getting. I still love you, Ed Robertson.
I think George Gomez is actually friends with Ed Robinson.
Yeah. So that being said, I didn't get an LE call today, but even if I did, I couldn't do it. I figured it would be 12.5, and then I'd be like, I can't do 12.5. That's too much either. So I was on the list, but I didn't think I was actually going to get on, like, pay for, like, $20,000. It's a lot of money.
That's like
a lot of money.
what's like a
Right,
good
that's like
used
a
car?
Snowmobile.
A
right?
snowmobile?
Like,
Oh, snowmobile. You got to go Canadian. You got to go Canadian with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
but I'll tell you, so I don't know, I'll probably go premium because, again, big fan.
Yeah.
I'm okay with the pro. So my wife and I are having the discussions is that I don't like to spend money. So for me, I'm like, well, is it worth it? There's a cost benefit analysis and the whole thing. I don't know. We'll figure that out in the next couple of days. But again, I didn't get a call. But what I find interesting about this price increase, it's $100 on the pro.
Yeah.
It's $700 on the premium, and it's a lot of money on the LE. So that's sending some signals from the manufacturer, the company,
Mm-hmm.
that I don't know, they try to hide maybe, or they don't care. Who buys pros?
Operators.
Me?
Operators and just right?
Yeah.
Businesses.
That is the bread and butter of Stern. They say it over and over and over again. They don't want to rock the boat
Yeah.
on the pro. And the collector, the home collector, or the fancy place will buy the premium. $700 is a lot of money. $500, I think I would have been like a lot more comfortable with $500, because at $500 US, that escalates quickly when you factor in currency at 30% loss. right? Because a Canadian dollar is 30%, 30 cents less than an American dollar.
Ooh.
So then when you get to 700, it really escalates. So that's where I'm like, I might be okay with a Pro. But then you get to the LE. So
Yeah.
people are tying this back to, well, inflation, and inflation is running the prices up. That's part of it. But what I think they're doing is they're probably taking less profit on a Pro and making more on the premium. And in the end, it sort of balances its way out. So they could have marked the Pro up higher and priced in more inflation. But what they did is they moved it up the chain so they could keep it really low, probably too low for them, and offset that loss with the gain on the LE, which is why the LE is so high.
And I'm, as a Pro buyer, I'm all for it. Like I'm glad. It's weird. It's hard to get people excited about pinball right now when the cheap entry level pin is $7,000. Like that's
It used to be $8,400 landed to your house in Canada like 4 years ago.
It was Turtles was like mid to upper $5,000. I mean, it's just, and that's brand new. It's crazy. It's just, but you know what? It is what it is. And the only way I'm looking at it is I'm glad that Stern kept the pros where they're at. And I'll be curious from a distributor standpoint, where are they? Is the profit margin like, I don't know, because obviously distributors buy the games cheaper than they sell them. But it's like, where did that, if they're not going up much, who's taking the hit? I hope it's not the distributors, but maybe it is. We'll have to wait and see on that. But premiums, I mean, my big thing though is they don't go down. So is this now where we're going to be, Venom's coming out, Hadi, at some point in time. So are you prepared? Are you prepared for $14,000 LE Venom? Like $15,000?
I mean, I had Bond in my cart. I logged into the Stern site 2 minutes before it went live for the LEs for Insider All Access.
Yeah.
I hit checkout. It was there. It was ready to go, and then it said 14.4, and I was like,
taxes and shipping.
It's not a dream theme. 14.4 is a spicy meatball. I mean, they're gonna sell out. They're gonna sell out all 1,000. So that's 13 million coming in.
Yeah.
So I get why they did it, but man, that is a tough increase.
Yeah.
Even if you like LEs, even if you can get one in your house, it's still, I mean, it's a big increase.
But hey, come Venom, you're not even looking. You're clicking
as
fast as you can. Like, oh, I got billed twice. I don't care.
That's been accounted for.
Yeah. Well, okay, so that's talking about price, but Pinmonk was actually listing it out there in chat. When it comes to actual timetable right now, one thing that's really interesting is these aren't ready. These games are not ready. I think it's been talked about that the games that are going to be made for arcades, so this is a small run of pros just to get arcades out, that is happening in mid to late November. So, like, when's the Dead Flip stream? I don't know. I mean, is there a benefit to doing it right now? I don't know. I mean, it's going to be mid to late November before the first round of pins to even get them out to an operator. So then I think it's something like premiums are going to happen in December. Like, there's what Pinmonk, maybe correct me there, but he said, like, I mean, people are looking at like April. If you're a premium owner, you're looking at April, maybe LEs I mean, we've got some time here before these games actually start showing up. So yeah, go ahead, Pinmonk, and tell me. April, so Pro, if you're a homeowner buying a Pro, April is what you're waiting for. December homeowners, the first round of premiums, December. I mean, this is kind of crazy. November, December. So really I don't know. Will they make Expo? No idea. I would hope they'd have a few. I was told April for Pro and Premium. Loser Kid. Yeah. That's crazy. So that's the reality, though. If this is the game that came out today, we're looking at April. Are they going to squeeze in a release around Christmas or late in the year, early next year? I mean, if they do, you're going to be pushed back another few months. I don't know, man. What do you think, Hadi?
I mean, I wonder how. I think they're thinking long term. This is the year to get their backlog cleared out. Again, why they delayed the release of their Cornerstone from April, May to August, and then that became September.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they are content on clearing out the massive amount of orders for people that have been waiting a long time, and then start 2023 with open lines now that Zeppelin's been vaulted. What else has been vaulted? Guardians of the Galaxy. They don't have to worry about making that anymore.
Yeah.
So now they're going to focus on their moneymaker, which is Zillow right now. That's printing, and I'm sure Avengers is doing well. So I think that the normal release time frame, if I understand it correctly, was they would announce it, and then it would be LEs and pros go out, and then premiums, and then they would start their normal schedule of, okay, well, what's on the line? And they have 3 lines now? So I think short term, it's going to be painful. But when 2023 rolls around, the supply flow of their older backlog titles will hopefully be cleared out enough to where now things will start opening up, and then you won't have this long of a delay, hopefully. And, maybe they're waiting on a special part. We were talking about that. Maybe there's a special mech that they just cannot get until a certain time, like a Stranger Things projector or something like that. So we'll see.
Yeah, maybe that Bond on wand is really
Yeah.
it's fancy. Or the dragon tank mold. I don't know. Or the rocket. I don't know what it is, but Rocket Rule the sex toy and is held up in customs.
You
Nice
just can't get any of these toys on like Alibaba or anything like that, like some manufacturers.
Yeah, true. They're no cake toppers. Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's weird, man. We'll have to see. So we're running low on time. We do need to wrap this up because George starts streaming in just a few minutes. But one thing we didn't dive too much into is code. We have Lonnie and Mike Vinicor. So they're the people who did Stranger Things code. I'm personally a fan of that code. Obviously, Hadi said he was trying to buy the game. When that code came out, it was not great, but it evolved into a really good game. So I'm curious here when this game does come out, and if it's going to be a while, I'm very curious where the code's going to be. But
it takes a long time to sort of massage code.
Because he also did Guardians, right? So if the code is not amazing when the game comes out, I would say be patient. Be patient because Lonnie has proven that he will get the code a long time for good enough code. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, they did have this break. We're just going to kind of have to wait and see on that. But speaking of wait and see, Craig, do you have any other thoughts on this that you want to share before we start wrapping this up?
I'm exhausted about the whole thing. It's been the journey. It's been quite a journey to get to this point.
Yeah.
So no, I'm just I think it looks like a winner of a pin all around, regardless of whether you're looking at the pro or the premium or the LE. I think they've got another winner on their hands here, and what can you say? They keep making it interesting for the community, and I'm glad that they again have another winner. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, like Hadi was saying, to get in front of this game and to shoot it. I think that art actually in person is going to look very, very good up close, both on the playfield and on the cabinet as a whole. And I'm excited, super excited to shoot it. Now that I've seen it, I'm way more excited to shoot this than in thinking about what the pin could be and in hearing about it. Because I do think that playfield looks very interesting. It's very unique compared to what we've seen previously. You can't really look at that playfield and go too much and go, oh, I've seen that shot over here or that one over here. He's got a lot of very unique things in that. So it's going to be a ton of fun. Can't wait.
Yeah. Well, this is a pin that, I mean, like Rush, I'm saying it, but it's like Rush comes out and people are like, oh, that's just X-Men, or this is Turtles, or it's Tron, and they're piecing it together, and it's going to feel like this and this and this and this. And no, I don't. This game looks very unique. So I totally agree with you there, Craig. I don't know why I was going with Bond. I was reading Bond and Bobby. Anyways, what's the over/under on Keith actually trolling on the EAM score reels? I don't know. I think there's actual score reels.
Talks in riddles
because of George. But that picture, I don't know. We're gonna see, and I don't even want to talk cost. That Keith game. I mean, I know so many people that are just like, I'm Elwin or bust from here on out, and they're ready to just they'll pay whatever. So that's December, right? I think December is the rumor for that. So we have a little time before that comes out. David, I'd love to do the what is it? What's the one talk show host that he's like, sorry, Matt Damon, we ran out of time. I'd love to do that. But David, do you have any? I mean, you are the Bond fan. Can you dig deep and I know you're tired. I know it's been a long day for you. Kimmel, yeah. Wrap it up? What are your thoughts here on Bond?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're a Bond fan, once again, Stern gets the best licenses. They do the best thing. But who would have thought in 2022 we'd go, man, there really isn't much in that JJP. And wow, look at this premium they got over here at Stern. Like, what the hell has happened?
Yeah.
What is going on here? For me, as a person who doesn't like to spend a whole lot of money on stuff, it's like, man, I was ready to go, and now, I felt kind of disappointed today, right? Like, I feel like we have significantly approached a ceiling. And for somebody like me who is able to purchase a pinball machine, as much as the next person, and somebody who's fairly good with his finances, and he has a spouse that keeps him from doing anything really stupid, she's like, "Whoa, what about the premium? I like the art better and stuff." And I'm like, "Yeah, but the pro's, pretty good too, and it's like less money." And I'm like the huge Bond fan and the person who's a friggin' pinball podcast, and she's the one that's telling me to go premium.
Yeah.
So I love my wife.
Smart man.
That's the
Smart
bottom
man.
line.
No, it's a good thing. And you said earlier it's weird because you were like prepared for $500 difference and now $700. So it's weird that but you threw in your 30% and all this, so it adds up quick, but it's tough, and I get it. I'm excited. I'm hoping Zach at Flippin' Out's going to let me borrow one of these to stream. I'm looking forward to shooting it. Otherwise, I hope they're at Expo for all the people being able to go to Expo. Hopefully they're there. Hopefully you have a chance to shoot it. Otherwise, it's looking like probably late November, early December that these are going to show up on location. So we'll have to see how it shoots. We'll have to, check all that out. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see it. Like, I'm excited to play the game. I'm not in on buying one of these, but I know there were plenty of happy people because the LE's sold out. And Zach, I know at Flippin' Out, said he had a great day of sales today. So I hope people have a good time. So real quick, let's wrap it up. Real quick plugs. Hadi, go ahead. Let's close this out.
My name's Hadi, aka Frisco Pinball. You can check me out late night on my channel, Frisco Pinball, or on Mondays at 10 p.m. Central at the Pinball Network. I have a Godzilla, AIQ, Black Knight, and then I also have a Goonies V-Pin, which I play from time to time. So you can come if I'm playing the V-Pin and request the table, maybe a classic you'd like to see, learn some rules. I truly enjoy doing this. I just hit 1,000 followers, so thank you
well
to
done,
all
Nice,
who
Hadi.
Well
have
done.
decided to show up and watch a random dude play pinball late at night. And that's it.
That's logo in pinball right there.
Yeah, well done, Hadi. Well done. S Jab here. I was ready to buy Toy Story 4, but could not justify after seeing this. This one I can justify. That's awesome, man. Yeah, that's a big thing. I mean, the cheapest Toy Story 4, you're looking at what, 12 grand? I mean, so it's cheaper. Like the premium's still cheaper, but yeah. Okay, Craig, go ahead, Craig.
Top stories. I do the top stories news segment on the Pinball Show, which I do with, of course, the hosts Zach Meny and Dennis Kriesel. And that show, of course, drops on the Pinball Network podcatcher every Monday. So check us out.
Yeah, and
It's gonna be a good show this week.
Real quick, wrap us up with that 007 theme song. It's so great.
Highlight of the stream.
It's so great. Thank you, Craig. I hope your wife knows how impressive you are. Yeah. And
Please tell her sometime, please.
Last and least, here we go, David. Go ahead, man. You've
David
run out of
Dennis.
plugs. But
Silverball Chronicles, the pinball history podcast. Check us out if you want to learn about all the politics and tomfoolery of all the past pins, the pins you like. Really cool, interesting stories. Lots of great interaction with Ron.
Ron does a great job.
Ron makes the podcast. Without him, it would not be the podcast that it is.
There would be no
hats off to Ron Hallett. Definitely a big piece of pinball.
Yeah. Hey, Joe, Wind Raider has a great idea. Keith, I don't know if you're still watching, but if you need Craig's audio to get that in the pin as a flipper code, we can make that happen. Yeah. And my name's Joel. I do the Flippin' Out stream every Wednesday. I know it's Thursday, but every other Thursday I do this on the Flippin' Out channel. Check me out there, and then Triple Drain Pinball podcast with Travis and Tom. So appreciate everybody. I appreciate a very active chat. I love it. The conversation was great tonight. If you're watching this after the fact on YouTube, feel free to hit up the live show every other Wednesday. Otherwise, enjoy enjoy the YouTube channel. Throw a comment in there. I try to respond with whatever I can. Stream gonna
It's a fun
get
time.
DMCA'd. Yeah, I know. Yeah. But okay, normally we would raid somebody right now, but I'm streaming on the Pinball Network, and George normally starts right now. So I'm going to shut this stream down, like refresh your browser, and then watch George play some. I don't know what he's playing tonight. Yes, George is great. And say hi to George for us. So yeah, everybody have a great evening. Say hi to George. Enjoy your Friday. And yeah, I will hopefully see you guys all next Wednesday.
Good job, Joel.
Yeah,
Had a lot of fun, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
All right.